I never thought my research, my home, my peace could nearly be destroyed by one woman with a title. 8 weeks of federally protected data on loon nesting gone in a single weekend if she'd had her way. And the craziest part, she booked a party for 80 people at my house like it was some public park and then tried to bill me for it. It started with an email. Subject line event confirmation, Waterfront Community Day. I thought it was spam until I saw my address, my dock, even parking instructions drawn on a map. Attached was a catering invoice for $1,500 plus equipment rentals billed to me Mason Hale as if I'd signed off. At first I laughed because what else can you do when reality throws you something that insane? But when the coffee stopped dripping down the counter, I realized there was no mistake. This wasn't a glitch. It was Pamela Knox, president of the HOA. I'd deliberately bought my house outside of taking what wasn't hers. I pulled up my property records, hands shaking. My name, my land clearly outside HOA jurisdiction. That's why I bought it. No meddling meetings about paint colors, no rules about research equipment, just freedom. On the wall above me hung my federal research permit, 8 weeks of acoustic loon data already recorded. A 300-foot noise buffer zone mandated by law. If 80 people showed up with music and car doors slamming, months of work would be wasted. Maybe years if the loons never came back. I showed the email to my wife Nora. She stared mouth open, then whispered, "That's fraud." She literally drew a map to our dock. I called the county office, desperate for reassurance. The clerk listened, then said carefully, "You need to document everything. This sounds like it could escalate." That's when fear set in. My neighbor Rebecca, who also wasn't in the HOA, shook her head when I showed her. "I've seen overreach, but this. She's advertising your house as the venue. There are flyers." She opened the community forum on her tablet, thread after thread of families planning their Saturday at my lake, kids talking about swimming, people asking about handicapped parking. All of them convinced my property was now a community playground. It got worse. Security footage showed strangers driving down my private road, measuring the fence, taking pictures like contractors. When I called the catering company, they confirmed a signed contract, Pamela's signature, my name. They'd turned down other jobs, ordered supplies, all on the belief I'd agreed. I hung up dizzy, realizing just how deep her lie went. Vendors kept calling, a portable restroom company, an event planner, even an insurance agent trying to confirm coverage Pamela had applied for in my name. At the hardware store, I overheard workers casually talking about setting up a buffet line on the Hale property. Rebecca confronted them icy. "That's private land, federally protected research." The vendors looked shocked. They'd all been told by the HOA president that everything was approved. That night, my kitchen table turned into a war room, permits, contracts, emails, maps. Nora studied the pile, then looked at me. "This is systematic. She's building a narrative where you're the difficult one. People already think you agreed." And that's when it hit me. Maybe I should just give up. Maybe I was the problem. I sat staring at the papers thinking, is this worth it? Maybe I'm selfish. Maybe the community deserves a party. Maybe I should just move. That dark spiral lasted longer than I want to admit. But then Rebecca called. "Mason, the forum's turning. People are fact-checking. They found county records. Your land's not HOA. They're posting screenshots. Her story's falling apart." It was the jolt I needed. If strangers online could fight for the truth, how could I not? I drafted formal notices of trespass and fraud, copied the sheriff's office, called my attorney, lined up the county inspector. Rebecca volunteered her drone to document everything. I bought a heavy chain and industrial padlock. If they tried to come, they'd see the boundary loud and clear. Saturday morning dawned gold over the lake. My stomach churned as I threaded the steel through the gate padlock clanging shut. Federal warning signs hung at eye level, protected research zone violators, subject to prosecution. Nora snapped photos while Rebecca's drone hovered overhead. My hands trembled, but when that lock clicked, I felt something like calm. 10 a.m. was supposed to be the kickoff. Instead, a single sedan pulled up. A woman and her elderly mother. I handed her an info sheet, explained, calmly pointed them toward the public beach. She apologized, embarrassed. Next came a minivan with kids in swimsuits. Their parents read the signs, faces falling, and left quietly. Then came the catering truck. Miguel, the head caterer, stormed up waving a forged contract. We spent $1,500 on food. We turned down jobs. His crew filmed everything, angry and exhausted. Behind him, kids from another family peeked out of their car windows, confused about why the party wasn't happening. I held my ground. I never signed anything. This is fraud, and you've been lied to. The county ranger arrived just in time, clipboard in hand. She inspected the signs, the documents, then announced loudly for the record, "Property owner never authorized this." HOA leader exceeded authority. This is attempted fraud. Families called their friends, word spread fast. Within minutes, cars were turning around, parents furious, not at me, but at Pamela. By noon the road was empty again. No music, no picnic tables, no boats tied to my dock. Just a locked gate, a quiet lake, and evidence photos, drone footage, witness statements piling higher by the hour. Later that day, word leaked, Pamela had resigned. The board accepted it immediately, scrambling to cover their own negligence. Vendors prepared lawsuits. Insurance flagged her name. Her empire of lies collapsed before she even showed her face. I sat on my porch that evening, chain still tight on the gate, listening to the loons calling across the water. The research equipment hummed, recording pristine data. 8 weeks preserved. My home defended. And a woman who thought HOA authority meant ownership learned the hard way that it doesn't. The lesson: boundaries aren't just fences, they're promises, and some promises you fight to keep.